Blog Talk Radio.
Raw living is a state of mind, a way of being in alignment with your body. Raw living means you put yourself and your body first. Your host, Geeta Sidhu-Robb, is the founder of Nosh Detox, located in the UK. They offer innovative raw food smoothies sold across Europe. You experience it in your skin, your body, and your mind. And now it's time for Living Raw Radio.
Morning, Geeta.
Morning, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, a real pleasure. I've been a fan of yours for a while. You know that anyway. And I'm really pleased that you've come on, and this is going to be a bit of an exclusive chat. And I love Nosh Detox, and I love your story, and I love the way your brand has been built and all that wonderful stuff. But I know some people that are listening are not going to be as familiar as myself. So would you please do me the honour and just introduce yourself and let us know how Nosh Detox came about?
Thank you. Yeah, I will. I mean, as I said, my name is Geeta Sidhu-Robb, and I run a company called Nosh Detox, based in London, although we now ship Europe-wide and worldwide. The company itself, I was a corporate lawyer, and that's completely, a world away from what I do now.
Yeah. You're very similar to me, aren't you? I was in finance.
Exactly.
Stuff like this. So, yeah, completely different world.
But on the other hand, it's so interesting how the skills actually help you out when you move on. My son, my eldest child, was really, really ill, and he was in and out of hospital for the first 2 years of his life. He was allergic to his vaccination, so he had anaphylaxis and asthma and eczema and intensive care, and it was appalling.
And when wasn't he?
Yeah, really, really bad. I mean, he died and was resuscitated. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
So when he came out of this process, I had slowly become disenchanted with the medical profession, because although doctors are very good at what doctors do, doctors don't create wellness. What they do is they kind of fix illness.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so I looked at him and I thought, I can make you so much better outside of here, because the only thing they have to give you is drugs. And I know that that's not the solution, because we've tried all of them.
Yeah.
So my background as an Indian was to grow up with very healthy food and a balanced diet, and I grew up in Africa, so we were used to, stuff coming out of the earth and eating it, and really, really very homespun, organic type stuff.
Yes.
And it turned out that when we were, I didn't follow any of this, Sam. I lived on pizza with a bottle of vodka in my fridge and
yes,
smoke.
We have really similar stories, and that's why I love what you do, because I can totally relate.
Yeah, so I just wasn't any goody two-shoes of any variety.
No.
And so I looked at this poor child and I thought, blimey, what am I going to do to make you better? But, it's that sort of inherent knowledge. And I had developed analytical skills as a lawyer, where I could take enormous amounts of information, read it very, very quickly, and disseminate a conclusion out of it, which is a skill set I never thought would be helpful. And, oh, my God, I use it every single day.
Yeah.
So I looked at him and I thought, right, you need to eat protein. I went and worked out what protein was. I thought, you need to eat fat. I need to learn what fat was. And I just did this really, really slowly. And I got to the stage where about 8-10 years later, where I had this child who was completely eczema-free, and he was covered in it. He was completely asthma-free. He was, he still had some food allergies, but I didn't mind that, because they made him healthier, because he didn't eat a lot of junk.
Yeah, you have to avoid most of it's usually the naughtier foods that you have to avoid, isn't it?
Exactly. And so I just thought, well, this is all great. And then when I got divorced, I was trying to find a job that would help me to stay with the children instead of going to work every day for 12 hours and not seeing them.
Yeah.
And because they were so little. And I was helping my best friend lose weight, and she said, my God, somebody would pay you for that knowledge. And I thought they would. She said, yes, they would.
No, sometimes it takes someone else, doesn't it, to flick that light switch on, and all of a sudden you see this array of options in front of you.
Yeah, and I just would never have thought of it. I have to say, I'd never, ever would have thought of that. And it just made my brain go, pitching.
Yeah.
And that's how I set up Nosh. It's a very long story, but ultimately that's where I came from. So I have this body of knowledge of how to make bodies better.
Yeah, but I love that. I love the fact, I love businesses like ours that have come from people that have had to try to heal themselves or their family or their friends, and they've actually gone out and they've not been lazy is maybe not the right word, but they've actually dug deep and they've really got in there and learned these skills for themselves, and as a result of that has blossomed this really beautiful business.
Yeah.
And I love that about these sorts of things.
Yeah, no, it's that's where it came from.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, one of the things that's big with me, it's big with you, I know, it's big with the entire world, I think, is the word detox. Now, for me, detoxing is not necessarily about weight loss. It's usually about health and rebuilding health and things like that. Now, what's your take? Why do you think detoxing is essential for us today?
Well, the thing with this is that when I set up my business, I couldn't get Nosh as a name on its own. So what I did was I bought Nosh Detox. So I started the detox industry in the UK completely inadvertently, because this is what I wanted to do. So what happened? So when we started, detoxing was considered some sort of fad, painful, horrible thing that people did.
Weird, yeah, you were a bit of a weirdo if you were doing it.
And I've been trying to tell people, and luckily now it's just an easy sell because everybody believes in what we're doing. The thing about detoxing is when you put stuff into your system every single day, you've got to clean parts of your system every single day. It's like a window or a car. You tell someone clean the window, they're like, okay, great. You say clean the car, they're like, okay, great. You're like, have a shower. Everybody understands all that. Why wouldn't you clean the inside and not the outside?
It does amaze me, and obviously you've got lots of stuff in media and press about, the body will do this itself, and, all that sort of stuff. And yes, to some extent we do, but we've got such an abundance and overload with everything that we do that actually doing a detox for some variety can be really beneficial.
No, not can be, Sam. It just is.
It is. Yeah,
you
it
can
absolutely is. And I think one of the things that people struggle with as well is finding the right detox or the right program, because I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, but also the thing with it is that if you get out the way of your body will fix everything. But the only way to get out of the way of your body is for you to actually give it a rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, and so that's something that you've just got to actually look at it and think, right, I've just got to get out the way. I've got to, we take days off from drinking. Well, I hope we do. Why wouldn't we take days off from eating?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's definitely how I got involved in the detoxing process. I mean, obviously, yes, I love digestion and that's my thing. And, I see clients all the time and they, like we were before, we would stuff ourselves with things that we shouldn't eat, and you would just grab the closest thing on the shelf and actually you're just loading and loading and loading, and you just need to give that system a rest. And I think detoxing is a fantastic way of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really, really is.
And it works. That's the thing as well. It does work.
And it's instant. It's not something that takes a long time and you have to think about it. It just actually works. So the thing with detoxing is that if you look at the primary principles of detoxing, you can then look at what method works for you. So the primary principles of detoxing are, one, you have to be putting in less than you have normally been, whether that's your straightforward, I'm doing a fast, or I'm only drinking juice, or I'm only drinking water. Less must go in than has traditionally gone in.
Absolutely.
The second thing about detoxing is that you absolutely have to make sure that there's stuff coming out. So whether that you're naturally, that's why in America it's so common for people to do colonics. I'm not 100% in favor of them, but there are natural colon cleansers that you can use.
Yeah,
and if you don't use them, you end up feeling really quite ill through a detox.
Exactly, and I think that's why it's quite important for people to understand about detoxing, finding a program that's probably going to be right for them. Because if you're not completely on board, it's not going to do what it needs to do. And like you say, if you're not eliminating as well, then you're just going to feel rubbish.
Yes, exactly. You do. You just feel nauseous, and people start hating you, and that's when they start ringing you saying your parents never got married, and you think,
you're absolutely right.
Deary me.
Yeah, no, I've seen some people that are on detox.
So what we've done is with the juicing,
can't you, that they're not doing it right because they're just angry people.
Yeah, exactly, and they are really, really brutally upset, and you can see that because it's ruining their life. And then you think, isn't it amazing that just food can make you feel this ill or not ill, and they don't stop to think how much of an effect food has, and yet they'll go and eat really bad food.
No,
So
it's right, and you have to sort of flip the coin on them as well, because you know, if you can highlight to them that actually your just food, just you changing your food, the way that you eat or whatever it might be, has made you feel this way. Can you imagine how good you're going to feel when you get it right? And
exactly.
That little dropping the penny, and they're like, oh, actually, no, you're kind of right. And you know, I think it's a bit of an eye opener to some people.
Yes, and I think they don't actually get that in the beginning. In the beginning, they get there with thinking, I hate you because you make me feel sick.
Yeah.
And then they go on from that. But with what we did in Nosh then is we saw that people could have really extreme reactions. So we created programs that go from, I do this all the time, here's my detox, bog standard, works fabulously, here it is, to, I've never done this before, I know I'm going to feel sick, and I was in the pub last night, and that's our beginner's detox, which you do, which, you know, it slows down the detox process. I go through a detox, and I'll look at it, and I'll think, oh, my God, I want to kill myself. My head hurts, my this, for whatever reasons. Sometimes getting off a flight can stress your system so much that having a detox straight after makes you feel really ill.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I monitor my detox reactions, and if my detox reactions are too extreme, I slow them down.
That's right. Yeah, you've got to learn to listen to yourself, I suppose.
Exactly.
The easiest way of talking about that. And people sort of look at me a bit strange when I mention things like that. But actually, we're giving warning signs all day, every day about various, you know, bodily functions and what we do. And sometimes not sometimes, but a lot of the time, we don't hear them anymore. They get, you know, that signal almost gets switched off.
Well, we get used to such a high level of discomfort that there's no point in trying to fix it.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's the annoying thing. But yeah, your range is phenomenal, and I particularly do like the beginners juice fast, because I think you do the option of the 3 days and the 6 days, and I think when you're just starting out on a juice, you know, mission, if you like, it can be a bit daunting. And I think actually the way that you've packaged yours up is really helpful. You don't get hungry, none of that weird stuff that people talk about. And it's, you know, it's just a quick 3 days. If that's what you want to do to try it, then, you know, certainly give that a go. I think that's amazing, and I love that about what you've got.
Yeah, and also we're very good about swapping programs. So if people come on and they do a program and we think...
Your guidance is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. And also when you do a program and you sit there and you can say to them, look, you know you've got 3 days of this that you've paid for, and at the end of day one you're like going to kill yourself, we'll let you swap to another program. Because the other thing is to make you feel good as opposed to forcing you to follow something.
Yeah, it shouldn't be forced. It should be quite a natural, relatively easy thing for you to do. Yes, it's going to be change, and change is always a little bit weird, but actually, like you say, you shouldn't really be in too much discomfort.
No, exactly. And, well, yeah, and then nobody gets very happy about that, of course. Yeah.
Now, one of the things I also recommend juicing for is digestion.
Yeah.
And as we've very briefly touched on it, for me it's about, you know, having a break, taking a break from stuffing yourself. It's going to, you know, digestion is basically this long, slippery tube, and actually it needs just as much TLC as every other part of our body.
Yes.
What's your take on juicing versus digestion?
The thing with juicing, the reason it helps your digestion is because it gives your body a chance to heal, and if you let your body heal itself, it works perfectly all by itself. It just isn't working with whatever's happening right there, right then. So juicing gives your body the rest to allow it to do that, firstly. Secondly, it's the enzymes, the digestive enzymes that come out of the juicing that work really, really well. The fiber helps to cleanse you and clean your colon, so that's really good.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm sure you found, that we found, is that there are people who start to bloat when they go on juices.
Yeah, they do.
And that, I mean, tell me what you think about it. My take on that is always that it's just changing the flora and fauna kind of thing of their digestion. So it's changing how it sits, and that's why they get bloated. What do you think?
Yeah. It's usually a bacterial thing. Most
of
the time when people come, usually I will send them on a juicing journey, and they'll call me a couple of days after and they'll say I'm just completely bloated. And like you say, it's the change in environment, and bacteria don't really like that. And most of the time, bloating can be as an effect of a bacteria that's, you know, going one way or the other. And
exactly.
That's pretty much what it's down to.
Yeah, and once you get to the stage where your body adjusts, which it does, it takes 2-3 days for your body to adjust, which is why we always try and get people to do it for 4 days, if we can. Once it adjusts, you feel so much better. But you get people just ringing you up wanting to murder you.
You're making that switch from bacteria that's thrived in a place that it's really comfortable in, but actually that place is not good for you, to a place where it's not very uncomfortable and it's dying off, and the good stuff has started to reinforce itself and make, set down its foundations again. And like you say, it just takes a couple of days.
Yeah, I think we just have it's interesting that we will spend a long time making ourselves ill, but we have a very low level of patience for making ourselves well.
I know. And I think actually that patience dwindles away even more when you turn to a natural fix, because I think it's so ingrained in us that you would go to a doctor and you can take your tablets and a couple of days later you feel good. But actually with natural stuff, it's not. Sometimes it can be that quick, but you've got to be just a little bit more patient. And some people are just no, it's not going to work.
It's interesting that, isn't it? And I think a lot of it is also because when you have a medicine, because they're so strong, they blanket bomb everything that they can see, and you don't notice that because you just feel better from the symptom that you have. Whereas when you're doing a natural method, what it does is it changes everything from the cell upwards. It makes you better all the way around, and sometimes
all the way through. You're not just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Precisely.
You're actually
and it can take a while.
The root cause.
Yes.
And that's what we want. That's what we need. That's what we need today to fix ourselves.
Yes, no, exactly. So I think it is interesting. And it's well put. It is something that's quite difficult, and they find that very difficult. You think, just have the patience, but it's not working. And you're like, no, it is working. If it wasn't working, you would feel nothing. The fact that you're bloated means it's working. Just doesn't make you feel very good. Yeah,
that's right. I always say to clients, what you look for is change. Don't look for better or worse. Look for change. If something about you has changed, that's only ever going to be a good thing. And they you can see it takes a little while for it to sink in upstairs, but actually then they I'll have a follow-up session or whatever, and they'll be like, actually, this has changed, but it's a good change. And I always try to highlight that, because with natural health, change is good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is something that works. Yeah, so, I think that getting people on the journey of actually paying attention to their body is what detoxing does.
Very, very beneficial. You'll know about things way before they become a major, major issue if you just start to listen and understand what your body is trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Now, obviously, the other thing that comes up in juicing a lot, and I know you've probably been asked this question a million times, I know I get asked it a lot, is, but what about the sugars in juicing?
Only daily.
Yeah. Now, for me, I don't think the sugars in juicing are anything near what you're going to get in a chocolate bar or a cake.
Well, they're actually also just a different thing. The thing with sugar, the thing with sugar that you get, I mean, getting a combination of sucrose and fructose and glucose is one thing. When you get it from a chocolate bar, you're getting a hit. The body breaks down sugar instantly, as you know. So what happens is it immediately becomes sucrose, immediately goes into your bloodstream, immediately peaks, and you become this bouncing lunatic. Within seconds. And if you don't believe me, give a bar of chocolate to a 4-year-old. The sugar it's throwing the baby out with the bathwater to make that an issue with everything that's sweet. Because when you look at stuff like juices, what you're doing is taking a fruit plus a fiber, and I'm talking about our juices where we blend them, not juices where you throw the fiber out and just drink the sugar water. Yeah. When you blend fruits, what you're doing is keeping the fiber in the fruit.
That's right.
And that takes up to 7 hours for that fiber to break, for your body to be able to break down the sugar alongside that fiber. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very, very long time.
Essential.
Exactly. And so that's a very long time. That's a completely different scenario.
Totally different, isn't it? And people just don't get that.
Yeah. And so you just...
I don't know how... I think maybe just because my mind is obviously educated to these things that I can completely see that it's almost... It's totally at different ends of the ballpark, but there's lots and lots of people out there
and
don't get it.
The other issue, Sam, is that people somehow think that vegetables don't have sugar in them, but fruits do. So if you drink a vegetable juice, you're fine, and if you drink a fruit juice, you're not fine. And it's exactly the same principle.
Yeah, it is, completely.
It doesn't have to taste sweet for it to have fructose in it when you break it down.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, carrots are sweet for a start.
Exactly.
There is some vegetables
Beetroot.
that are sweet, you know.
Yeah, they really, really are. So it's just a completely different way of looking at it.
It is totally different, and I just wanted to touch on it and get your point of view, because I knew it was probably going to be exactly the same as mine anyway.
Yeah.
Which is always
mutual admiration society here.
One of the other things that I quite like about what you guys, I mean, your range, as I said, is really, really diverse, and you cover lots and lots of avenues, which is great. Now, what's the difference between the benefits of juicing versus intermittent fasting? What's your take on that?
They're actually they're sort of the same principle, but a different approach.
That's right. That's what I think as well. They're still very, very similar, but completely different almost at the same time.
Yeah. So what they're both doing, the thing about intermittent fasting is it's just a name for a really good idea, right? So, like with anything, when you can give it a great tagline, it sort of works a lot better.
Yeah.
When you intermittently fast, what you're doing is giving your metabolism, your digestion a rest on the days where you eat less, and your metabolism the ability to actually ramp itself back up when you eat lots and lots of food. So with your metabolism, when you eat a lot of food and then you eat less food, then a lot of food and less food, your metabolism stays quite high. Whereas when you eat very little food across the board, your metabolism starts to slow down. You know this, right?
Yes.
So what we're saying here is that intermittent fasting allows you to have the rest, bounce up your metabolism, and make everything work. Now, juicing... And
that's why it's essential that you break those days up, those 2 days, isn't it?
Yes, you shouldn't have them next to each other, really. No. Much better off having them spread across. Juicing does the same thing in that it allows your digestion a break. It allows you to eat less. But I think juicing is so much better for you just because you're getting all the enzymes and the goodness and the vitamins and the minerals from the fruit that you aren't getting when you eat food.
Yeah.
The quality of the food has to be so good for you to get vitamins and nutrients from it that if you just swap it out with juicing, you're doing 100 times better, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. And I think the other great thing about juicing is it's that massive, massive hit of nutrients, vitamins, mineral, everything. You're just going to get ram-packed straight into the system, really easily digestible. The body's going to absorb it super quick and do everything it needs to do to repair itself, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what you're trying to do there.
Yeah.
You're trying to make the whole system work better. Yeah. Any of these, it's always, my principle is this: do something rather than nothing. Exactly. And then if you're going to do something, make that something be a few days a week where you have very much less food than you would normally have, or drink juice. And the third principle is up your intake of fruit and veg. So I'm just lazy, so I blend it and drink it.
No,
and that works for me.
I very much do the same. I mean, as you know, I juice at least once a month. I do at least 3 or 4 days every single month just to give myself that break. Not because I overeat with junk as such. It's that I know that I'm a very busy person, and I like the influx of nutrition that it gives me. And like you say, if you're a bit lazy, then blend it and drink it. There's no harm in having a really wicked smoothie first thing in the morning that contains a load of stuff that's just going to set you up for the day.
Yeah.
I don't see the harm in that at all.
No, exactly. And I mean, I can't see how it hurts anyone at all. The other thing with it is people look at it and think, I'll juice once every 3 months and it will all work. And that's really nice, and I'm grateful that you're doing something, if not everything. Yeah. But honestly, it's such a cumulative thing. Yeah. It is a cumulative thing. If you can do it every month, you're doing so well. If you can do it every fortnight, you're doing even better. But I make my 81-year-old mother juice. Literally gun to her head. But yeah, I do. I absolutely do. My kids say, could you mind if we juice? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. Okay. I honestly, there isn't anyone that shouldn't do it.
No.
There are
nutritional benefits are outstanding.
Yeah, there are issues with people who are on very severe medication because that's a little bit more painful when you're doing that, because it's the liver starts to then dump all the medication into your system.
That's not necessarily a good idea.
No. So then you should call people like you and I to help us through that process. But other than that, I can't just, that's like maybe 5, 10%, 15% of the population. Everybody else has no excuse. Just get on with it, do it, and take it like a man, as it were.
Take it like a man and just grit your teeth and do it.
Exactly.
Stop being a bone idol, as my nan would say. Amazing. I love it. I genuinely do love juicing. And I think this sort of goes back to the question earlier about finding the program that's right for you. If you've tried juicing and actually you need a bit more substance in your life, if you want to put it like that, then maybe the fasting might be a good idea for you. And vice versa, if you've tried the fasting and you think, oh no, that's not working for me, then give juicing a try, because actually they can be very beneficial, either of them. And it's about finding that right thing that works for you and that's going to be easy for you to do on a fairly regular occasion.
Yeah, and just get on with it and just say, right, this is what I'm doing, this is what I need to do, and
make it part of your life. That's what I have to sort of, tell people is changing your health is about changing lifestyle, and it's about doing it long term. And you need to find these things that work for you, because everybody's different. Everyone is different.
Yeah, exactly. And just because if you just the other thing with it is I think that you need to take your health into your own hands. Being in control of your health means that you have power.
For it yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, and having your health for yourself is power. It means that it all works, and you feel more in control of your life, and that has to be the most vital thing that you can possibly do for yourself on a daily basis.
It's really empowering, when people have come through that journey, and it's lovely for me to see as a therapist that they come to me and they're not feeling very well for whatever their reason, and I sort of help them and walk them through the journey that they need to take. And when they come out the other end, it's actually really lovely to see, because they're so empowered and everything about them is now different, and I love it. Yeah, exactly. So, but no, and it's very good that people that like you that do and work with digestion care about it, because it means something that it does mean something, and it works well. Because you can see and understand. I've been on shows where I'm talking to people who say you should eat one piece of bread every day, because if you give up bread, it's bad for your system. And you're looking at them thinking, seriously? Really? Yeah, live television. Really? And I'm just looking at thinking, okay then. Okay. Yeah, clearly nowhere we're going to agree. Or whatever, and just move on from that. Exactly. Yeah. I don't do bread. It's not my thing, and I don't think we need it, but, that's probably a whole different show and a whole different question. There is that. Okay, so now where can people pick up your fab? Because you're in stores, aren't you? I mean, that's how I found you. I think I found you in it was either Waitrose or a Whole Foods. Whole Foods, and we're also in Ocado, and where, so you can order us online, and there's a Tesco.com with the food hall you can order. So there are many places, and also just noshdetox.com. Yeah, absolutely. We have a little bit of a special thing, don't we, going on for this? We do indeed. This is little shindig we've got going on here. Yes, what we've got is that if any of your people go into our site and they go into any of the juicing section and they put in Body Sync. Amazing. So BODYSYNC, they'll get 10% off any program. Any juicing program that they want to try. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'll be there. I'll be sending everybody. Well, I send people there anyway, you know that. So that's great, and we're hugely, hugely grateful. Oh, no, it's such a pleasure, and it was really, really good speaking to you, Sam. Thank you very much. Oh, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you. Now, you have Facebook, right? Yes, we do. Facebook is The Raw Smoothie. Okay. Twitter is @NoshDetox. And everything else actually is, I think, @NoshDetox. And then, noshdetox.com will also give you all those links. Yeah, no, you've got tons and tons of stuff, and you've got your little pop-up for people to chat. So if actually you're on the site and you're not entirely sure which one might be right for you, then there's always someone on hand, isn't there, to talk to from the team. Yeah, and we absolutely love speaking to you. So you don't have to be a client in order for us to be speaking to you. No, we're really grateful. I love that. That's amazing. It's very helpful. It's very, very helpful, I think. Yeah, no, just call us and let's just all get on with it. Yeah, we'll get on with it. Get cleaning yourself up in one way or another. Yes, exactly. Do something, anything. Anything you want. Okay, amazing. So it's been an utter pleasure. Thank you so much for coming and talking to me today.
It's such a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Take care, and we'll speak again very soon, I'm sure.
All right. Take care.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nosh Detox is an award-winning company for your ultimate health improvement. Nosh Detox system works on all areas of the body, having dealt with thousands of clients whose health dramatically improved within days. For more details, visit noshdetox.com. noshdetox.com.
Sluggish? Do you feel bloated? Is your energy levels really low? Do you find everything that you eat goes straight to fat? My name is Candice, and I am the naturopathic nutritionist at Nosh Detox. I am here to tell you that your body needs a rest. If that sounds like you are ready to try a Nosh juice fast. A juice fast is the most natural way for your body to detox, while providing you all the life-saving minerals and vitamins that your body needs and craves. From beginners to advanced juices, we have all the options that may be available to you or suited to you. Call me on 0845 257 6674 or go to noshdetox.com and click on the right program for you. I'm right here to help you and support you. Thank you.